Hey guys, in this video today we're going to look at app configurations with Consul, and this is a new feature available in Flogo Enterprise 2.4. And essentially is, if you've seen some previous videos, we did it on the environment variables and we did it on AWS Param Store. So in this case, this is a third option that you can use for your configuration management. So I have an application that I built out. Essentially it's something relatively simple where it's just a timer that repeats, and then I basically output the value of certain properties that I've defined. So in the first log message, I'm going to log the value of a sample. In the second log message, I'm going to log the value of test, and then I just return those values. And if you look within app properties, you'll see that the default values are there. So sample, test, default values are here, and they're strings. You can add or delete any of these that you want to. I already went over this a little bit more in a previous video, so check out the environment variables video if you want to see me talk about that a little bit more. Once you build that out, you just build the binary, download it. I already have that build. So now that I have that build, see here, it's app config new Darwin, and then I have a console config.json. So let me go to my console page, and if you notice here, I have my key value storage. So basically the way that the naming works is that you can, anything before the environment variable can be anything you want. So in this case I have dev, the name of the app, and then test, which is the variable I want to change itself, and then the value of that variable that I want to change. But this can be anything you want. This doesn't have to be dev, this can be prod, this can be QA, this name can be anything you want, it doesn't matter. The only thing you have to make sure is that you actually specify what that prefix is within your configuration. So if I open up my console configuration, you'll notice that under key prefix I define dev app config new. If I had changed that, then I would just change that value here in the key prefix as well. And then you'll see that there's also a variable for server address. So because I'm basically accessing this console unit via public IP address or via the internet, then you'll see that my server address is a public IP, and then I basically put the port for the web UI. If you were accessing it internally, then this could be an internal IP. It's just obviously how you're choosing to access it. So from this perspective, I'm basically going to access console in a non-secure way because I'm not using ACL. But if I did have ACL enabled within console, and in my case I don't, then you could actually set another variable here for ACL, and you can check out the documentation for that. But essentially it's just the ACL token, and you can either encrypt that or unencrypt that with the encryption tool, and it'll be picked up by Flogo. So, and just like the AWS configuration or AWS Param Store, you don't have to do it via a JSON file if you don't want to configure it that way. You can do it all within the command line. I just highly suggest using a JSON file because it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot easier, and obviously you don't want to be exposing certain values within your command line that someone can go back and access. So when you actually want to run this, you need to run, let's see if I have it stored here, clear. Flogo app props console. So if you remember from our previous videos for AWS, it was Flogo apps props AWS, and then equals, and then basically you put either the string value that you want or the name of the JSON file. So in this case, because I'm using a JSON file, I am just defining what that name is, and then app config, whatever the name of the app is. And so the way that Flogo will know that it's looking for a console type of configuration management service is because you're using this property versus something else like Flogo app props or Flogo app env, something like that. So once we run this, what should happen is that it should access our console server, and it should pick up the key values depending on what our prefix has been defined, and then replace the default value of that key with whatever value I entered within console. So if you notice here, Flogo app props resolvers is set to console. That's what we want to see. Property sample cannot be resolved. Console, well, this is exactly what we want to see as well, because we actually didn't set a key value for the property sample. We just set it for the property test, so it uses the default value if it can't find anything. So you'll notice that the first value is called sample value, which is the default value of sample, but the second value is value from console. So if we go back to console, you'll notice that the test variable has been changed from whatever the default value that we set within the studio, which was test value, to value from console. And so it was able to successfully pick it up. like I said earlier, if you need some sort of, or if your console has security with ACL, then we have the ability to actually allow you to pick up that ACL token when trying to access console. You just have to place it into your JSON file or place it into the command line string when you enter it, and it'll actually be able to access those keys as well. So yeah, it's relatively simple. This is just another way that you can use an app configuration tool to actually manage your different property values without having to go back into the Design UI and change it within there. So yeah, I also hope this was helpful. Feel free to check out other videos that I've done with different new features for Flogo Enterprise 2.4. Thank you.